I'm going to show you the easiest way to complete a Rubik's Cube using a series of 3 sequences. The first sequence I'm going to show you is the main sequence you use throughout the whole cube. The other 2 is only used when completing the top towards the end. But for now, you need to familiarize yourself with this sequence. Right hand up, right hand across on the top, right hand back down, left hand back across on the top. Again, right hand up, right hand across, right hand down, left hand back across. You need to know that same sequence but on the left hand side. Left hand up, left hand across, left hand back down, right hand back across. Again, left hand up, left hand across, left hand back down, right hand pushes back across. The first step to completing the Rubik's Cube is we need to form a white cross on one elevation. However, when we form this white cross, for example here, the white and the green, this will need to correlate with a green center. So you'll need to have the white, the green, and so forth all the way around. We can't do this using the 4-step technique that we learned earlier. We need to do this using various techniques, which I'm going to show you now. So for this step, it's all done with the white center on the top. We have to locate our white middle pieces. Here I've got the white and the green. Now for you, this could be white or blue, white or red. It doesn't matter, but the principle is the same. What we need to do is have the pieces we want to manipulate into position on the bottom, keeping the white square on top. So here I'm going to move that white and green down to the bottom. There it is. And then what we need to do is locate the same color center. So I have green here. You could have red, blue or orange, but for me it's green. So I need to rotate this around until I find a green center like I have here. White and green, the green center, the white cross kept on top. Now from here, we can't just rotate that round to the top because the white is on the wrong elevation. We need it on the top. So what we do, move it back down to the bottom, keeping the white cross on top, holding it in my right hand. I move my white center out of the way to the back, then holding the front and back elevation, I'm just going to rotate this white round to the top. Now that is on top, I bring the white center we move to the back round till it is on the top. And then we twist this green round until it matches up with the center, and that is our first piece in place. Here we've got the white and the blue. I need to move this white and blue to the bottom and then twist this blue round until it lines up with a blue. Now this is the perfect scenario here, having the blue on the same elevation as the blue center, because all I need to do is simply rotate it round to the top, and there we have our next piece in place. We have our white, green, green, white, blue and blue. We do have one on the center here, a white and red, but it's in the wrong location. We can't just twist that round because then it will move the other pieces out of position that we have just done. So what we do here is move this down to the bottom and move it around the white, where is it? The white and the red until we find a red center, which is there, and then twist it round to the top. We now have 3 pieces in place. Here we have on the bottom our white and orange, which is already lined up with the center for us, and all we would do is twist that round into position, and that would be the first step complete. If this piece was to be, trying to give you an example, so if you found yourself with all these three pieces complete and your white and orange on the wrong elevations, all we do is move this down to the bottom and then twist this white and orange round so we can match it up with the orange center like this. Now it is just the exact same as we've done before. We have the white and the orange lined up with the empty space on top we want to move it into. Holding that in our right hand and keeping all the completed sections on the left hand side, we move them to the back out of the way. We want to get this white round to the top, so we hold the front and the back in our right hand and twist this round till it meets the top, like so. We then bring the tops back round to meet, and all we do is rotate this top round until the correlating centers match up. Now, if we've done this correctly, like so, all our centers match up, we have the white cross, and you are ready to go on to the next step. Step 2 in completing the Rubik's Cube is to fill in these white corners. Now, to do this, we use the 4-step sequence we learned earlier. The first thing you want to do is to locate where the said cube wants to go. In this instance, it is a blue, orange, and white. So we look to the bottom and find where the blue, orange, and white would need to go, which is this corner here, because we have the oranges and the blues with the whites on the bottom. So we rotate the white so it sits above the location we want it. If the white is facing to the side of the cube like that at the front, we do the 4-step sequence once, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And that slots into place with the orange and the blue with the white on the bottom. If you find yourself in this situation with a white on the bottom, you simply rotate it up and move it across just to get it out and onto the top, and move the white back down to the bottom. Again, here we need to locate the white, the blue, and the red, because we have the reds here, the blues, and obviously the white. There is the white, red, and blue. We twist that round. The white is facing out to the right, and we just do the 4-step sequence once. 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts that one into position. So again, if you find yourself with one at the bottom out of position, you twist up to the top and move it around just to get it out. Bring the whites back to the bottom. Now this is a good example because we have a white on the top. If you find yourself in this situation, as we have done with the other 2 examples, move the right round to its correct location, which is there. The white above here, orange and green, because this is where the others are. Now, all you do in this situation is keep repeating the 4-step sequence until it moves to the side, which means you are 1 step away from getting it in the bottom, 1 sequence away, or keep going till it ends up in the bottom. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there it is on the right hand side, facing out, which means we are one sequence away from slotting this one into position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we've just got one more to do there. Move it up, out of position. This back down. White facing out to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is step 2 complete with all the bottom layer in position with the whites. Step 3 is to get all this second layer matching in. Now this is all done with the whites facing down as in the previous step, and you'll find that you'll have the yellow on the top. So to get these colours in position, what we have to do is look around the top middles for one that doesn't have a yellow. This one has got a yellow on it, so that's no good to us. Here we've got an orange and a green, which is what we want. So what we do is rotate that green round till we can line it up with the green. And then our next thing is to look to see what colour we have on top and what direction it needs to go in. In this case, it needs to come round to the right here. This green needs to come round to this position, and the orange needs to come to there. So in essence, that just needs to sit there. How we achieve this is, because this orange and green need to come round to the right, we push the colour away from us to the left. And because we want it round to the right, we perform the 4-step sequence on the right hand side, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. If you've done that correctly, you will end up with a white square out of position there. Now to get it back in place, as you've learned in the previous steps, we just simply rotate this around the opposite way to the left, so the white is facing out, and put it back in position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you've done this correctly, the whites will all be back in position and the orange and green will be in its correct location. If you find yourself in a situation like this where you have something like this where you need to get this corner out because you want it on the top to manipulate it and perform the sequence back into location, all you do, without worrying about twisting the top, because you just need to replace it with something, is do the 4-step sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know you've done it right because your white square is there. You then turn it the opposite way and put the white back in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that piece has come out. You can then carry on. Look to the top here, for example. We've got a green and red this time. We move the green around to the red. So because the red needs to go to the left, we push it to the right. And because we want it on the left-hand side, we perform the 4-step sequence on the left-hand side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Twist it around the opposite way. Put the white back in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's gone in position. Now just repeat that till you have all these sides in position. Step 4. Now you have all of your second layer in and all the whites on the bottom. We need to form a yellow cross on the top as we did when we started the bottom. For now, all we're going to concentrate on is getting the cross, and we'll worry about the correlating middles after. So for this step, again, using the 4-step sequence, I'm going to reverse engineer this a bit because I'm nearly completed. I'm going to go backwards to show you how it would be done. So all you simply do is to bring the yellows on the top, to rotate the face to the right-hand side. Then on the right-hand side, perform your 4-step sequence, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, because we rotated it round to the right when we started, we need to rotate it back round to the left to put it back into position. Right, so this is a good starting point. So let's just say this is where we started. We had nothing, no more yellows on top here. What we would do is that 4-step sequence, turn the face clockwise to the right, perform the 4-step sequence on the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then move the face anti-clockwise to the left, back round in position. Now we've ended up with some more yellows on top, keeping that same elevation facing us. Just repeat again, round to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, twist this back into location. This is what ideally you want to end up with, is a line through the middle. If you was to not end up in this position with this line in the middle, and you had 4 or 6 or even an L shape, you would want to keep those 4, or ignore these 2, that L section to the left hand side. If it's just 4, top left, but anyway, you just keep that to left hand side and repeat your 4-step sequence from this position. But when you end up with this line, you keep this yellow line going across you, not up that way, it has to be this way. And again, just repeat your 4-step sequence after turning the face round to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then return the face back round to its original position. And we have ended up with our cross. Now, if you end up with yellows up here, that doesn't matter, as long as you have this pattern running through the middle. So step 5, what we need to do is match these top centers with the middle. So rotate it round until you can match up the middle with the centers. If you've managed to have all these in position, you can skip this stage. If, like me, you have ended up with 2 matched up, what you need to do is put the 2 matched up sides, one to the back and one to the right hand side, and perform this step, which is right hand up. Take note of your 2 colours on this side to help track where you're at. Push this once round to your left. Bring the right hand side back down and push this all the way, or one more time, to the left. You then rotate the bottom back up and you should be able to see the 2 white squares. You then rotate the top all the way back round until you have the whites in position and put them back down. Now, if we've done this stage correctly, we should be able to rotate the colours and they all should match up with the centres. If you don't have that, repeat that step until you have all those matching up. Step 6, we need to get these corners into the correct location. When I say the correct location, I mean all 3 colours correlating with each side. This one doesn't. This is an orange. I have no orange on any of these 3 elevations, so that one is in the incorrect position. This one is in the correct position because I have a red, a blue, a blue, a yellow, and a yellow. So starting with this piece in the top right hand corner, we need to swap out these 4 corners. And you do this by doing this sequence. Right across, right up. left across, left up. And then you just reverse it to swap the corners. Right back across, right down, left back across, left down. Then go and check your corners. This one has ended up exactly where we want it, which is going to make the next final step easier. This is in the correct location. We have a green, orange, orange, yellow, yellow. And the one we started with there in the correct location. You can now go on to the final step, completing the cube. For the final step, we now need to rotate the cube so the yellows are on the bottom and the whites are on the top. What you need, this would be an incorrect position to start from. We need to have the colour out of sequence on the bottom right, like so. That would be wrong, this would be right. And what you do from here is the 4-step sequence that we practice in the beginning. You will know when you have this right because the yellow will end up on the bottom. So keep repeating the 4-step sequence until the yellow is on the bottom. That's when you know you have completed the move. So 1, 2, 3, 4. No yellow. So we need to repeat it. 1, 2, 3, 4. The yellow is on the bottom. We know that's complete. Holding that same face facing you, although the rest of the cube is jumbled up, ignore it. You keep this same elevation facing you and rotate the bottom until you find the next one out of position, which is this one. Rotate this one round to the right and repeat the 4-step sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. So we repeat it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now from this position, because this yellow is on that right hand side, and from doing the whites, we know that one last sequence should put this in the correct position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you just rotate the reds round to match the reds and you have completed your first Rubik's Cube. If you don't end up there in that many sequences, you just carry on rotating the bottom till you have the right one in its position and perform your 4-step sequences.